Dear faithful listeners, welcome back to Tip About. Before we begin running, let's take a moment to stretch and warm up while listening to the recap from last episode. Previously on Tip About. But I hope he never tells you. Because once a fantasy becomes a name, it stops being perfect. We flipped through the secret pages of a woman's heartbreak, learned that a quitter isn't always a failure. It brings to mind a story I heard before. Once there was a monkey who put his hand in the jar to grab a banana, and his hand was stuck. He didn't want to let go of that fruit, but until he did, he would never be able to escape the jar. Thank goodness Rose escaped her invisible jar because she chose to let go of a husband who was never hers to begin with. And that, I hope, gave us courage to let go of something we thought is worth holding on to, like an imposed identity given to a chicken named Lani from today's story. Let's shake off the entire season 6, run to the beach now, and spend some time with the chickens.
Once, on a warm little island in the middle of the southern seas, I looked as any other chicken did. We clucked in the mornings, pecked at deer for grain, laid our eggs by evening, and slept in neat little coops, while the ocean sang us to sleep. Life was orderly, predictable, safe. Or it should have been. Some days, when the wind swept in from the sea and lifted the palm fronds in a slow, swaying dance, something in my chest would stir. It felt like a ripple of air in my feathers. Though my wings were still folded, I didn't have a name for it then. Just the sense that something inside me was pressing against the walls of my life, wanting out. The first time I saw him, he was standing in the sunlight, like a splash of living fire. Long, tall plumes fan out behind him in green, gold, and sapphire. He didn't cluck or scratch at the dirt. He twirled, slow and proud, as though the whole island existed only to watch.
Don't you think I'm beautiful?
He asked. I said yes, because he was. But the truth is, I didn't feel envy. I felt possibility. That evening, I went to the cliffs. The air was strong there, rushing past the rocks as if it had somewhere urgent to be. I opened my wings, ran, and for one breathless moment, the earth let go of me. I returned the next day, and the next. My wings strengthened. My fat melted away. The ground became a place I touched only between flights. One afternoon, I was gliding down the beach when I spotted the chief rooster below. His red comb gleamed in the sun. Look! I called, my voice bright with joy. I can fly! For a moment, he just stared. Shock twisted to anger, then anger to something colder. Fear.
Chickens can't fly!
He barked. I tried to land beside him to explain, but the wind caught me and swept me further down the beach. By the time I fled my way back, he was gone. That night, I woke to a knock on my coop. Nest builders. A voice whispered.
Just checking the straw.
It was a strange hour for repairs, but I opened the door a crack. They pushed in. 3 of them, strangers in dark feathers. They tore at my nest, pulled me to the floor, tied a blindfold over my eyes.
You're under arrest.
One said. For what?
For being a hawk.
I laughed at first. Me? A hawk? I was born on this island. I clucked and laid eggs like everyone else. They didn't laugh back. The submarine was colder than I thought anything could be under the sea. The air smelled of metal and damp feathers. Bright lights beamed down from above, so strong I could barely make out the shape of the chief rooster across from me. He began without greeting.
If you fly, you must be a hawk.
He said. I'm not. I told him. I don't hate chickens. I am a chicken.
Hawks hate chicken.
He said, his voice patient, almost kind.
So if you fly, you hate chickens. That's logic.
And then he told me the story. How long ago hawks nearly took over the island. How they now lived up north, always circling, always waiting. How any bird that learned to fly risked being used, whether they knew it or not, in a hawk's plan to overthrow us.
There are only 2 kinds of birds.
He said, stepping closer so I could see the shadow of his beak through the glare.
Hawks and chickens. If you are not one, you are the other.
I tried to speak, to explain that flying didn't make me a hawk, any more than scratching in the dirt made someone a chicken. But the words didn't land. Every answer I gave seemed to confirm what he already decided. Days blurred. Sometimes he questioned me sharply. Sometimes he spoke softly, as if we were friends. But always, the choice was the same. Deny your wings or be condemned as an enemy. One night, he came with a knife.
Promise me you will never fly again.
He said.
And you can sleep.
My feathers were wet from a bucket of ice water. A dull ache pulsed in my skull. My wings trembled, not from the cold, but from the longing to spread. A promise to try, I murmured. Whether I spoke the last 2 words aloud or only thought them, I can't be sure. When he finally let me go, I wasn't alone. The singer had lost her tongue. The dancer's bright plumes had been hacked away. My left wing hung lighter, half my feathers gone.
No more singing.
He told her.
No more dancing.
He told him. And to me,
no more flying.
We returned to the island. No one spoke to us, but the hands watched. They saw. In time, my feathers grew back, and so did the egg. The sky still waited where I had left it. One evening, when the sun slid low and the waves lapped in long sighs, I crept to the beach where I used to practice. It was empty, except for a small brown hand standing in the silver edge of the tide. The singer. Her voice had returned, clearer, sweeter than ever. my tongue grew back. She said, and it's better now. But aren't you afraid? I asked. Of what? That they'll call you hawk again. Her smile deepened, calm and certain. I'm not a hawk. I'm not a chicken either. I'm something else. Can't you be different without being one or the other? I didn't answer right away. The question hovered in the salty air, unsettling and freeing all at once. Later, the dancer joined us. His plumes had grown back, richer than before, shifting in the fading light from emerald to indigo to gold. He fanned them wide, then let them fall, almost shyly. You're beautiful, I told him.
And you?
He asked.
Have you flown again?
I looked up at the wide open sky. My wings twitched with longing. Fly again? I teased. Why not? With one sweep of my wings, I lifted into the air. And in that moment, above the waves, above the coops, above the lies I had been told to live inside, it came to me with a certainty that warned my feathers from within. I am not a chicken. I am not a hawk. I am a skylark. When I landed, the singer called out, I am an Oreo. The dancer bowed low, his tail catching moonlight.
I am a peacock.
And together, under the moon, we celebrated what we are. Word spread, some chickens tried singing, some tried dancing, some tried flying. The beach filled with voices and colors that had never been heard or seen before. But not everyone was pleased. One day, a tall young rooster came striding down the sand. His comb was neat, his gaze uncertain.
I'm the new chief rooster,
he announced. Where's the old one? I asked.
Roosting,
he said shortly. He looked at me, at the Oreo, at the peacock.
What's going on here?
We're just being ourselves, I told him.
There are only two kinds of birds,
he said slowly, as if repeating a lesson he wasn't sure he believed.
chickens and hawks. If you're not one, you're the other.
Maybe there are more, I said gently. Maybe many more. His gaze faltered, but then hardened again. He stepped forward, caught my wings, and raised a knife.
I'm sorry, I can't let you fly.
And then before I could speak, a voice rose from the edge of the crowd.
Let her go!
It was a hen, then another, then 100, all at once. Let her fly! We trust her! She's not a hawk! Their voices swelled like a tide, pulling the sand from under his feet. The chief rooster froze, started. He let go, dropped the knife, took a step back.
Go on then, fly.
He said. I opened my wings The air rushed under them, lifting me, carrying me higher and higher into the pale blush of dawn. Below, the oriole sang to the sunrise, the peacock danced to the surf, and out past the breakers, I saw it, a silver periscope, unmoving above the waves, watching. I knew who it was, the old chief rooster, roosting in his submarine, still keeping watch. Let him watch, I thought. He could not change the wind, or the sky, or the fact that I had learned what I was. I did my wind its salute, and then I flew on, higher than I ever flown before.
The end. Alright, let's take a moment to catch our breath, shake out your arms, slow the pace. We're cooling down now. Sometimes labels feel like sweaters other people knit for you. They might be soft, they might even be beautiful, but they're never quite your size. You spend years rolling up the sleeves or tugging at the hem, trying to make them fit. Because hey, someone handmade this for you, right? It would be ungrateful to throw it off. When I was younger, I thought the goal was to earn the right title. If I worked hard enough, I'll be the smart one, or the creative one, or maybe the efficient one. And for a while, those words felt like gold stars. But gold stars fade. And I didn't notice how subtly they started to fence me in, how they decided what I should do, how I should act, and what I should never try. That's why Lani's story lingers with me. She could have spent her whole life trying to be the best chicken she could be, or convincing others she wasn't a hawk. Instead, she walked right out of the whole argument. She stretched her wings, felt the air under them, and let a new word find her. A word no one had given her. A word she could love. A word she could belong to. That's the part that melts me. Not the flying itself, but that moment she realized she didn't have to live inside someone else's vocabulary. Because once you do that, you can't go back to pretending the old sweater ever fit. Today marks the end of Tell Season 6. May you always remember, you don't have to be what others say you are. You're free to discover your own wings. Fly or dance or even sing as only you can. May these stories in Season 6 continue to inspire you and remind you that there's always more than two sides to any story. That the truth is always multidimensional, and we human beings are just being humans, doing our best in whatever circumstances we find ourselves in. Till next season, this is Tell Bell, and I'm your host, Bella Wee. Keep running, keep uncovering what lies beneath.